Hello everyone, welcome to the explanation. So in today's video I'll be starting with old question discussion, and today's chapter will be file. So many of you have asked me to prepare a video on this topic, so I'll be covering both theory and program portion for this. Okay, so let me start with all the topics from beginning. So one question that can be asked from this section is the definition of file, that is, what is a file? Okay, so this question can be asked for 2 marks, and this has been asked I think in year 2071 or 72. Okay, so please check this question has been asked once. So what is a file? We can say that a file is a place on disk or secondary device, okay, to store a large amount of, or to store data, we can say. Okay, so the file is nothing but a space or a place on secondary device. Okay, so whenever you create a file, it is created on your system or somewhere in the drive in your system. Okay, so this is a place in a secondary device, don't get confused. Okay, so next question that can be asked can be, what is text file and binary file? Fine, so let me write in this form. So if it is a text file and if this is a binary file, so in text file, the information is stored in textual form, we can say. Okay, that is in text form. And in binary file, the information is stored in binary form. Okay, for example in text file the information is in the form of text, but in binary file it can be in the form of audio or video also. Okay, so in generally in text file we have something called end of file, EOF, which denotes that the file is going to end, but here no such delimiter is there. Okay, so if you want to open this text file, the various modes are R mode, W mode, A mode. Similarly, if you want to open binary file, the various modes are RB mode, WB mode, etc. Okay, you have to just add this B here after any mode of file. Right, so again this question I think it has been asked in some 2060 something year. Okay, so exactly each question that I'll be discussing, it has been asked in some year. Okay, so exactly I don't know the year, so please check once, but every question is important here. Let's go to the third question. Okay, so I'll go line by line. So third question that can be asked from file section is, what are the basic file operation? Okay, what are the basic file operations? So there are various steps we can say in file while doing a basic file operation. So question number 3 is, what are basic file operation? Okay, so the various file operations can be, first of all you have to name a file. Okay, first of all you have to name a file. What is the name of your file? Then you have to open a file. Third step can be, okay, reading or writing. So we can do reading data, reading from a file. Also the operation can be writing to a file. Okay, so these 2 operations can be performed, and finally after doing all the operations we have to close the file, the same file. Fine, so in any question you have to perform all these operations. Fine. So for any file, to operate on any file, you have to create a file pointer here. Okay, so what does a file pointer do? So if you create a file pointer, what happens whenever you open a file? Suppose you have created a file pointer called fp and you have opened a file called abc.txt. So whenever you open a file, this file pointer goes and sits here in the beginning of the file. So if you start to write in this file, what happens? This pointer goes to the end of file. Wherever the end of the writing is there, the file pointer sits there. Okay, if you want to read the file, the pointer should again come here and you can read the file. It means that the pointer is like cursor which moves along with the data. Okay, so two things you remember. Whenever you are doing a question of file, you have to create a file pointer, and every task that you are going to perform, that either you are going to write in a file or you are going to read from a file, you have to use this file pointer variable. This name of file is only used once, that is while opening a file. Okay, so let me give you example of this. So first of all, first thing that you are going to do is you are going to create a file pointer for your file. Next step is you are going to open a file. So while opening a file, you will use the same file pointer, that is fp equals to fopen. This is the syntax of opening a file. So in double quote, you are going to write the name of file. For example, I have used the name of file as abc.txt, and in second double quote, you are going to use the mode of file. Okay, so for example, if you want to read from file, you will use the mode R. Okay, so you have named the file. The name of file is abc.txt. You have opened a file. So you have opened a file. The syntax is this. So you will open using a file pointer. Reading and writing from file. Okay, so what you want to read or what you want to write. So you have got a number of functions here. For example, if you want to read or write a character, you can use the function as fgetc and fputc. If you want to read and write string, you can use fgetc, gets and fputs for string. If you want to write or read, if you want to read or write mixed data, okay, that is %d, that is integer, float, string, so you can use the function as fscanf and fprintf. Okay, so if you want to read or write structure or array, so you can use the function as fread and fwrite. Okay, so all these functions, they are used to read from a file, and all these functions, they are used to write to a file. Okay, so reading and writing you can perform using these functions. Okay, so in exam, write a syntax, you can write any syntax. Okay, very simple. Last step is closing a file. So for closing a file, you will use the syntax fclose, and inside this you will use the file pointer. Okay, so remember, whenever you are going to open a file, you have to just close the file. Okay, so again, this question is important. It has been asked in some year. Okay, let's go to next question. So the next question can be okay, so there is one question, I think just now we completed this question. So the question is, explain the IO operation on file with suitable example. Okay, so the question is, let me write for you. I think this is question number 4. Explain the IO operation on file. Okay, so this question we covered just now. So what are the various IO operation? They are naming a file, opening a file, reading and writing from a file, and closing a file. So this part we have done. Second part is state the typical error situation during a file. Okay, so we know that the typical error situation while opening a file is, for example, if you are going to open a file that doesn't exist, or the name is error, or there is some mode error. So what is the syntax? It is if file pointer equals to null, what we are going to print? Printf, sorry it is t, printf file cannot be open, and we use exit 1. Okay, so this is the syntax. If any error occur, this is the syntax. Else what we print? We print that file has opened successfully. Okay, so this is the syntax that we can write for any if any error occurs during a file. This is second part done. Third part is how can the content in the file randomly accessed. Okay, so randomly accessed means, suppose you are going to write in a file. Okay, suppose you are going to write in a file. So what are the randomly accessed means? You want to read, after writing you want to read from the file. Okay, so what all you can do is, first of all, if the cursor is here, you can rewind it and you can bring it to the beginning of the file. Right? Next one is, you can use this file pointer, you can bring it to any desired location within a file. For example, you want this cursor to be placed here, so you can also use this. Okay, so for this we have one function called rewind function. This is just rewind. Okay, and this is for the beginning of the file. If you want to bring this file pointer to the beginning, start of a file, you can use rewind function. And if you want to bring this cursor of the file to a random location, okay, to a random or desired location, you can say, within a file, you can use the function fseek. Fine, fseek is there. So the syntax will be, for rewind function, the syntax is rewind, inside the bracket you will put fptr. Okay, this is the syntax. And for fseek function, the syntax will be, let me adjust here only, fseek. Okay, fseek file pointer fptr, next is offset. Okay, and last one is position. Just a minute, I'll scroll it a bit. Okay, fseek, so the syntax is fseek fptr file pointer offset and position. Okay, so what is offset? So offset is a number or variables that specifies the number of bytes to be moved. For example, how much byte you want to move from the start of it, or from the location of the file, that will give you the offset, that is the number of byte. And position means that either in this place you can either put 0, 1 or 2. 0 denotes beginning of the file, 1 denotes current position, and 2 denotes end of the file. Okay, so this is the syntax for fseek. So this is how you can randomly access a file. So next important question, I think, from theory part left is question number 5. What are the various file opening mode? Okay, so I think there are basic 6 modes are there: read mode, write mode, append mode, and finally R plus mode, W plus mode, and append plus mode. Okay, so in read mode we open a file for reading only, and if the file doesn't exist, it throws an error. Whereas in write mode we open a file for writing only. Okay, and what happens if the file is not there? it will not throw any error, but it creates a new file. Okay, and if the file exists, it erases all its content and start to write from beginning. In append mode, similar to write mode. Okay, but what happens in append mode is it opens the existing file, whatever file name you're giving, and it starts to append the content. Append means that in writing mode you deleted the file content and started writing your own content, but in append mode the previous content is not deleted, it is appended. It means that if previous content is here, it will append from here, it will start writing from there only. R plus mode, both writing and reading. Okay, next is W plus mode. We have again writing and reading. So here if the file is not there, it will throw an error, whereas here in W plus mode, if the file is not there, it is going to create a new file. Fine. So here we can modify the file, we can write new content. Next is append plus mode. So it is used for append plus read. So it is going to read the existing content and append new content at the end of the file. Okay, it is not going to destroy any file, and a new file is created if the existing file doesn't exist. Okay, so accordingly we are going to use all these modes. Whichever mode you will need, you can use this mode. Next is they can ask you to write the syntax of all the all the functions. For example, write the syntax of fscanf, fprintf, okay, fread, fwrite. So please read all the syntax. They can ask for 1 or 2 marks of each. Okay, so next question can be, okay, as I told you, they can ask syntax. So please read syntax of all the functions, fputc, fgetc, fputs, fgets. Similarly, so again write a syntax for opening and closing a file. So I think I have already discussed that. So I think these all are the probable question from the theory portion of file. So next video I'll be starting with solving the question. So I think I'll prepare the video in 2 parts. Okay, so this is one part for theory. Again, second part I'll be starting for program, and third part again I'll be starting for program. Okay, because there are a number of questions to discuss, so it will be difficult to cover in a single part. Fine. So please be updated, and if you have any query, if you want me to solve any question, please comment below and stay safe. Thank you.